Hi, Douglas Simonson coming to you from Mexico with another time-lapse video where I create a painting from start to finish. Today it's going to be a landscape, and I'm working from a photograph I shot in the Dominican Republic a few years ago while driving through the Samana Peninsula, which is a really beautiful part of the DR, by the way. I'm going to start by showing you the photo in its original form, and then I'm going to show you how I use a couple of Photoshop filters to tweak it so that it's easier to paint from. Now this is the photograph without any tweaking. To get it ready for painting, I apply two Photoshop filters. The first one is median. You can see it looks blurry, but it's not just blurred. The median filter gets rid of the details but keeps the edges. The second filter I use is posterize. Posterize reduces all those complex, subtle color differences to a few areas of flat color. Let's see that again. Median, posterize. So with those two filters, I get a version of the original photo that's simpler in terms of both shapes and colors. What's going on here is I'm mixing colors. I'm mixing 5 or 6 of the main colors I'm going to need for the big shapes. I don't try to mix everything because I don't know how these are all going to work together once I get them onto the canvas. So I just mix a few and get them all onto the painting pretty quickly so I can see if they're working together. If they don't, I'm going to need to adjust something. You can't see it in this video, but there is a rough pencil sketch on the canvas. I've covered it with a wash, a coat of thinned down acrylic paint, so there's a neutral ground, but I can still see the pencil drawing. I'm starting with the darkest darks. In this case, they're all greens. Now I'm mixing some purplish gray tones for the road, a dark version and a light version. I'll do the lightest part of the road later. There's a lot of medium green areas, so that's my next priority. I've been doing darks, so now I'm going to put in the lightest lights, which is the sky. Just because getting these lights in place early will help me see how my values are doing so far. And then next, the tree trunk, which is a very light yellowish green. Now I'm mixing an intense, bright yellow-green for the most vivid areas of the image, the greens that are in sunlight. Putting these in is a lot of fun because it really brings the painting to life. Next, I mix up a shade of medium light green because there's a lot of that happening in the trees and in the big shadow by the side of the road. Between the grass and the road, there's an area of warm orangish brown, so I mix that up next. And notice what happens when I put this in. It works really well with the colors already there. I got lucky. I'm also putting in some of those very light spots where the sun is hitting right next to the road. Now I'm starting to work on the smaller areas of color, like the lightest part of the road. Okay, with all the big areas of light and dark in place, it's looking pretty good. So what I'm doing now is squinting and comparing a lot. I'm comparing my painting with the source photos, looking back and forth and seeing what's different. And when I see something that's different, I know that that's the next thing I need to work on or add. Like those strips of light across the road. And adding the little rectangle of turquoise for the road sign adds a nice spot of color. Okay, now I'm really in the finishing stages. And one thing that means is thickening the paint for more intensity in some areas. Like the lightest greens, I'm making them even more intense by adding more paint and by using a really light, intense yellow. I'm also adding another coat of white to the clouds to make them pop, to make them really white. One of the last things I do when I'm finishing a painting is refine the edges. Edges are really important. Some places they need to be really sharp and stark, and other places they need to be really fuzzy or completely disappear. So when I'm finishing a painting, one of the things I'm doing is really looking at it and seeing where the edges need to be refined. And there's the finished painting, Samana Highway. Thanks for watching, and happy painting!